We are streaming live already up on youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. Do make sure you join us to view what goes on in the studios and leave your comments up on the live stream. You can also send your WhatsApp messages in to 0809 440 and take it to Twitter and tag us at Smooth981 FM. I won't step down. IU speaks as PDP crisis gets messier. From the Guardian newspaper, let's get into the stories today. So the war between the war of words rather between the two contending forces inside the opposition party continues, and it keeps heating up. And now we've heard from the man at the eye of the storm of the controversy, Iocha Ayu, who has described who has been under pressure lately with calls for his resignation left, right, and center. He says, I'm not going anywhere, and these people who are calling for my resignation are children. Is that so? Is the opposition party in the hands of children right now?
Okay, so okay,
Just asking.
Okay, thank you, Shopware. So it's really sad that two leading lights in the PDP, in the persons of Dr. Yocha Ayu and Governor Nyesom Wike, are engaging in a public war of words. And what is this about? Wike is determined to get his pound of flesh because he believes that Yocha Ayu was instrumental to his losing the primaries to Atiku Abubakar. Now, interestingly, Yocha Ayu did make a promise to the PDP members, to the PDP echelon, that if a northern candidate was selected as a flag bearer for the presidential election next year, he would step down, irrespective of the fact that he had just started his tenure as chairman, and the tenure normally lasts 4 years.
So why this flipping back and forth now?
So his argument, okay, on the prima facie, his argument is this: even if I resign, right, because you're also complaining about the lopsidedness of the current PDP structure, where the BOT chairman, the national chairman, and the flag bearer are all from the north. His argument is, according to the provisions of the PDP constitution, if he were to resign today, the deputy national chairman for the north will become the chairman. So either way, you haven't really solved the problem you're going on and about. Now, Iocha Ayu describing Governor Nyesom Wike as a child is just mischievous, right? Yes, he's older than the governor, but we must remember that in 2007, Iocha Ayu left the PDP. And Governor Nyesom Wike, for all his faults, for all his eccentricities, for all his idiosyncrasies, he's literally the man that has kept the PDP afloat in the last 2 to 4 years. Literally the main man. Now, PDP would not want to go into an election, or should not go into this election where they are the underdogs, one of the underdogs, with this infighting going on.
But Mrs. Here, I'm gonna bring in another story, because at the end of the day, if we've got the other party saying, "Hey, you want to lose the election? I can help you with that." Let's take a look at this article in from the Daily Trust. Wiki will help PDP lose in 2023. I think it says it all when he's responding to IU's claims of children all around. He said, "Well, it's obvious that let me read this quote now. Yes. The children brought you to be chairman of the party. The children brought you from the gutter to make you chairman. Dr. Ayu said, we are children. Yes, the children brought you from the gutter to make you chairman. Now we have seen that you don't want the party to win the election. We will help you." What does that mean?
Wike is grandstanding. Forget the public outburst. He's like a petulant child who's been denied his sweets or his play toys.
Are you agreeing with Ayu right now?
So Wike can be mischievous and he can be naughty. Now, this is where I'm going. Even though Wike...
Hallmarks of children, but okay.
Even though Wike is not contesting any position in 2023, Wike has 45 candidates he's interested in, from the State House of Assembly to the House of Reps to the Senate.
From River State?
From River State. And he's interested in delivering all 45. Forget the public outburst. He's just being his normal controversial self. Because if he's not making political statements like this, He's got some ridiculous hype man who bursts into songs whenever
Hey,
he's addressing the public.
designer, man,
So
designer.
with Wiki, he's constantly in your face, and
Right.
this is a brilliant strategy because he's constantly in your consciousness for whatever reason, good, bad, or ridiculous, or even mischievous. But he's constantly there.
Ah, no publicity. Bad. No publicity is bad publicity. Huh?
So he won't go away. You can't forget him. And the truth of the matter, I understand Atiku is seriously considering dropping IU, getting IU to resign.
But IU has made a
Right.
very strong point that constitutionally he's mandated in office for 4 years. That's one. Recall that Wike has a way of taking out national chairman he's not cool with, and this is becoming a trend. He was the one who made sure the former chairman of the PDP left office even before the end of his tenure, and he was the same person who brought that former chairman into office. They were from River States together. Now he wants IU out so he can decide the next chairman of the party. But some party members are saying this is not how to run a party.
But sadly, from 1999 till date, in the PDP, how many of the chairmen have actually served out a full term? How many?
I cannot answer that question. Can you?
So I can't readily recall any chairman that served out his full term
Oh.
because they would fall out with the president or the leader of the party, and
If
it's
you can
goodbye.
remember, just let us know up on WhatsApp 0809 444
So are we getting to the point where state governors now remove national chairman of parties? I thought it was the president who would usually do that
Yeah, but
as party leader.
the PDP is not in power, so there's no president. So the national leader now, for all intents and purposes, is Atiku Abubakar because he's the flag bearer.
All right, let's look at this story from the Punch newspaper. NNPC can't justify 6.34 trillion naira petrol subsidy. This is according to the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ali, retired. Now, he stated these at a briefing to the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, where he said he's arguing that the NNPC cannot scientifically prove that 98 million liters are consumed daily in the country.
So I'm going to start by saying this. I normally don't agree with Colonel Hamid Ali, but on this point, on this matter, I cannot fault his position. Now, the NNPC for a very long time has been able to justify its claim that 98 million liters of petrol are consumed every day. It makes no sense. But that position is justified when you put it side by side with a huge subsidy budget. Now, Colonel Hamid Ali makes a very interesting point, and it's very simple. If you fill up your tank today, Victor, with petrol, are you going to fill it up with petrol again tomorrow? Not likely.
If,
Impossible.
if you go to certain petrol stations, you might.
No. But the thing is, we all know where a full tank should get you to. So if they finish dispensing the petrol and it's not full, you will know and you will raise a storm. Now, the NNPC cannot justify to Nigerians that every day you're allowing people to lift 98 million liters when the consumption, even conservatively, let's put it at 60 million. So the extra 38 million, where is it going to? Who is it going to?
Daily.
Daily. We all
Because we've been looking at the numbers climbing.
So we all drive cars, or we've all driven cars, right? Make a full tank will probably take you 3 to 5 days, depending on how you use it. But to suggest that in the same week you will fill your tank 5 times, it's impossible. It defies logic. And this nonsense has to stop. Now, he was saying this against the backdrop of some hearing conducted by the House of Reps. And they were concerned about the targets set by the customs and whether they'll meet their target for this year. And he assured they will meet the target for this year. But that with regards to funding of legal issues, they weren't receiving the proper money. And there was a particular claim, which initially was put at 3 billion, but now they're running the risk of paying over 20 billion due to compounded and accumulated interest. So again, this is an issue we need to decide because this subsidy has led to a huge budget deficit for next year, and we cannot continue to fund an opaque and non-transparent program. We do not consume 90 million liters of petrol every day. It's not possible.
Now, there have been stories that tankers take some of these petroleum products to neighboring, countries to sell. Is it that the authorities are not aware? Is it that the federal government also is not aware? What is going on?
So, Victor, a 33,000 liter truck is not small, right? It doesn't move quickly when it's full. It's still the same routes that they will pass customs, they will pass immigration, they will pass the police, they pass all the security agents. It's an organized racket.
I mean, I was just gonna say, compare that kind of vessel to the kinds of vessels that we have seen apparently fleeing. I'm never going to stop using that word.
Yeah.
And I mean, it beats my imagination. 33,000 liters, that's per tanker.
Yeah.
And then we have to accumulate it until it gets to millions. Yet this happens on a daily basis. I want to also agree that yes, we have porous borders in the country, unmanned sometimes, but then something should be done if we really want to stem down the numbers. Let's look at this one from the Guardian newspaper. Eyes on Akpabio Lawan as INEC publishes list of candidates 20th of September. Now, INEC yesterday said it will publish the final list of candidates for presidential, Senate, and House of Representatives sit on the 20th of September ahead of the 2023 elections. Now, all attention will be on Senate President Ahmed Lawan and former Akwa Ibom State Governor and former Minister of the Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio, whose candidacy have been a subject of controversy.
Okay, so
I know we've talked about it here on the program before.
Yes, we have.
And perhaps we're waiting to see the final list on the 20th of September.
Yes. So, just like you rightly said, on the 20th of September, the final list for all the federal positions will be published. Then on the 4th of October, yes, correct, 4th of October, the final list for all the positions for the states and our state houses of assembly will be published. Now, while everyone is looking towards the publication on the 20th of September is because of the two aforementioned individuals. Now, we must recall very quickly that when the primaries for the National Assembly, for the Senate specifically, were conducted in May, the two gentlemen did not contest because they were then presidential candidates. The presidential primary was held the following month after the primaries had ended. For whatever reason, I think they both stepped down. Either way, they didn't win the primary.
Akpabio stepped down. The Senate president still contested, but did not win.
Fine. None of them won, right? Then, after the presidential primaries, the two of them purportedly organized primaries in quotes where they emerged candidates. Now, unfortunately for both of them, the candidates who won the proper primaries conducted in May have refused to step down, have refused to withdraw. And they're insisting that they are the rightful candidates to be put on the ballot box for next year.
But the National Secretariat of the APC have said Lawan and Akpabio are their candidates.
So the National Secretariat can say anything it likes, and that's the truth of the matter. The Electoral Act is clear. Primaries are to be organized by the parties with INEC officials in attendance. Now, the National Secretariat of APC, this is a question you need to answer. The primaries you claim threw up these two gentlemen, were any INEC officials in attendance? It's a very simple question. If they were not, what are you on about?
Okay, let's take some of your messages now. You can send them in by tweeting at us at Smooth981FM, by going up on youtube.com/Smooth981FM Lagos and leaving a comment on the live stream, and sending WhatsApp messages into 0809 Like from Festac. APC says that subsidy is a scam. So why are we still talking about subsidy? Please call Lai Mohammed to come and explain because he said it was a scam. As Tajuddin says, oh, I'll let you read that one, Mr. C, off air. Funny one though. We've got this one in from Idima Pusa from Surulere, who says, if AYU had agreed to resign if Atiku wins the presidential primary, why is he reneging today? Why are politicians like this? See the problem he's now causing in PDP. Atiku should do the needful.
Nerocello has this one sent in from Ogudu. The questions of Colonel Hamid Ali are valid and his MIC must not be off his mic. I feel the media is so distracted from the issue-based campaign by these intentional dramas in APC and PDP.
And we'll take this next one from Said, who says generators and call vehicle traveling. If you're looking at intercity commute, maybe not, but interstate might let it get there.
That's to the 98 million liters per day. But Jonah Inisolo is saying the truth of the matter is that Nigeria doesn't know how much of fuel it consumes daily. The only explanation is that we're possibly subsidizing petrol for the entire West Africa, as most of these daily liftings are smuggled to other West African countries.
And Tony from Marine Beach says, although I don't believe we consume 98 million liters every day, but I picked a hole in Colonel's permutations. What if Nigerians are actually taking turns in filling their tanks? That if everyone would fill their tanks in one day, it might become even 4 or 5 times the amount of 98 million liters. Not playing the devil's advocate, though, says Tony. All right, let's.
Mr. C wants to respond.
So
Okay.
very quickly, if 20% of the eligible Nigerians bought petrol each day of the working week, each working day of the week, right?
Mm.
And they fill their tanks on each working day, we still won't get that ridiculous figure of 98 million. Not possible.
All right, from the Vanguard now, NEDC earmarks 31.01 trillion naira to stabilize and develop the Northeast. We've seen over the more than a decade now atrocities perpetrated by insurgents in the Northeast, just dealing with the states of Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, and Taraba. While the Northeast Development Commission has earmarked this sum in as part of its 10-year Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan. Apparently, seeing as this is 2022, within that plan, we're supposed to be in stage 2 now, which is the renewal phase. So recovery and stabilization process was supposed to take place from 2020 to 2021. Renewal phase is 2022 to 2023. Then expansion from 2024 to 2025, and then the sustainable growth phase going from 2026 up until the end of the tenure. Mr. C, what would you say about this?
Okay. Thank you, Shakwa. So this is a very ambitious and laudable plan because we're all witnesses to the devastation that has been wreaked in the Northeast, and that part of Nigeria needs to be restored. Now, having said that, the target of 31 trillion is extremely ambitious, and it's instructive to note that they intend to get the funding from foreign bodies. Now, I don't know whether they will hit the target, and I note that between 2020 and 2021, there was a stabilization process that should have taken place. What is the review of that stabilization process? Was it fully achieved? Was it partially achieved? Was it not achieved? We don't have the details yet. Supposedly, they're now in the renewal phase. And it begs the question, if you started as far back as 2020, why are you announcing it 2 years later? And let's not forget, 2020, the world as we know it was disrupted by COVID-19. So it calls into question whether that stabilization process actually even started in 2020. And if it didn't start in 2020, when did it start? And if it has started, has it been concluded? So there are many questions that need to be asked. And through how will the various state governments key into this? Because this is supposed to be a pan-party plan. So it's irrespective of your party affiliation, you're supposed to key into this plan.
That is a very valid point.
And it will be instructive to see post-election next year how they key into this. And they should let us know the progress so far. Now, 31 trillion, like I said, that is ambitious. And with foreign donors, they want to see accountability. They want to see transparency. So we cannot run this plan the typical Nigerian way. It will not work. They will not really. If they release the first round of funding and we do things the Nigerian way, that is that.
I'm so forced to come into the conversation. The NDDC was created in 2001 under the Obasanjo administration. So far, between that time and 2020, 6 trillion was spent. But if you go to the Niger Delta, you'd still ask for developmental infrastructure in that region.
But there are key differences between the NDDC and the
No,
NEDC.
perhaps why the NEDC was created and now they're asking for 31 trillion naira. Though you've said yes, they want funding internally and externally. However, accountability has always been the problem with some of these commissions that we set up in Nigeria.
Yes, so it goes back to the way we do things, Nigerian way, which sadly is more associated with impunity than due process. So until we decide collectively that we're going to stop this culture of impunity. Now, back to your statement about the NDDC, it's not that no work was done, but you cannot match the work done with the funds released. The NDDC literally appear to have been a treasure pot for some highly placed individuals.
Will we see the same with the NEDC?
Well, let's not speculate, but it'll be hard. I'll be pleasantly surprised and pleased if they don't go the way of the NDDC. I'll be pleasantly surprised.
All right, Premium Times. Now, Nigeria has 20 million out of school children, according to UNESCO. And this is according to the latest global data out of, school children released by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. And they say new and improved methodology was used to arrive at the latest figures. In fact, they said 244 million children and youths between the ages of 6 and 18 worldwide are still out of school. But bringing it down to Nigeria, over 20 million children are out of school.
Okay. This is a very, very sad development, and it bodes potential gloom and terror for the nation. How do you have 20 million children out of school? When they grow up, they become young adults. What exactly is the plan for them? Because when they do not find something meaningful to do, when they find it difficult to survive or to exist, what then are we expecting? That they will be law abiding, that they will cooperate with the rest of societies that got an education. There's a saying of Obafemi Awolowo: the children you refuse to educate today are the same ones that will torment you and your own children in years to come. Now, in sub-Saharan Africa, 98 million children out of school. Nigeria has 20.4% of that figure. There are 244 million children out of school globally. Nigeria has 8.1% of that figure. Now, it speaks to the failure of all the administrations to seriously look at education. When you look at each budget, education probably gets 3%, 5%. I cannot readily recall a budget where the allocation to education was in double figures. In terms of percentages, I cannot recall. A good example, ASU has been on strike for more than 6 months. Now it's indefinite. And every day, they come out to insult our collective intelligence by saying they're determined to make Nigeria a developed country. They're taking Nigeria from one point to the other. How? Without education, how do you develop or transform a nation? Look at China in the 40s. Look at Singapore in the 40s. Look at Dubai. They've all grown because education was key. Show me a country in the world today that has developed without education. Show me one.
Why is Nigeria so complex to govern? That's the question Femi Eastwood is asking up on Twitter. And on YouTube, the messages are coming in with Mitsu Donata saying 38 million liters of stolen fuel will take 1,151 tankers of 33,000 to evacuate Nigeria. How possible?
So let me correct that. It's not just tankers. They could also use vessels. But 38 million liters every day cannot be accounted for. At least 38 million liters.
Ejukeneke says there's just some comedic relief when the elections are close, and Daddy Weeks and his hype man are doing a good job rattling IU and Atiku, as it may seem. Nothing can surprise me again in this country. Don't doubt it that 38 million liters or more could be moved out unchecked. And in the run up to the 2015 APC primaries in Lagos, Rochester was a presidential candidate and lost to Buhari. Next day, he was the governorship candidate for the APC in Imo State. Oh, the messages are
That was
coming.
before the Electoral Act, right?
That was the old
Electoral
iteration.
Act.
That was the 2010 version.
So that could work, but
Yeah.
this new one, it cannot go on anyway. B from Lekki is saying Atiku's PDP is collapsing and he has remained radio silent. This behavior is all too familiar. Atiku Okowa is simply a continuation of PMB PYO. God bless Nigeria. Said is saying, what is the average number of cars on our roads? You'd ask FRSC that one.
Fabian from Ekpe says the truth is that if people are benefiting from the overestimation of our fuel consumption, just as they are benefiting from the fuel that crosses borders, why should they stop? The lack of integrity is deafening.
Chika Hamid Ali's analysis is rather infantile and it doesn't apply to most Nigerians. If anything, low-scale commercial fuel usage can very easily be daily. However, it still stands that the geometric progression of the published daily consumption doesn't seem to align with our realities.
Tajuddin from Ali Mashura back again says regarding subsidy, I still don't know why I believe Mr. C more than I do all the people in government put together.
Well, Emeka from Amuwo, so we spend billions feeding school children and yet more children are leaving school. Isn't that wonderful? What a paradox.
And D from Alausa says many children out of school are learning one form of trade or another.
98 million liters means about 1 million vehicles fill tanks every day. I thought about that too.
And Otunaga says each time you talk of the out of school children, you should equally talk about the religious beliefs that encourages bringing children to the world without limits and planning for them as well. We could also talk about the state of insecurity and the internally displaced people within the country. There are many factors that go into this.
I was even forced to bring this in. 20 million out of school children. What is the population of Zambia? 18 million people total. The out of school children in Nigeria is much more than the population of Zambia.
What?
10 times the population of Gambia. Gambia is about 2 million people.
Ghana
is 31 million. Can you imagine how we keeping silent and 20 million? In fact, if we look at our population in Nigeria and we say we're 200 million people, that means 10% of our population out of school.
And you must remember that figure is conservative. It's not entirely accurate. So there are probably more that it didn't capture. So, and mercifully, the campaigns start this month. The debates should be later this month or in October. These are questions we must ask these gentlemen that have offered to run for office. What are the plans? Don't come and give us sound bites. We want concrete plans. Break them down.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of the show for today.
Oh man, too bad we won't talk about the DMO and the country's growing debts. Well, we've come to the end. Coming up though, thank you so much, Mr. C. First of all, make sure you go and connect with him on Twitter. He is at Monsieur C. There's 3 E's after that C. You can also find him by the same name up on Instagram at Monsieur C. And yes, just keep tackling him about all that he's spoken about and your thoughts on it as well. Coming up at 8:15, it will be the locker room right here on Smooth Breakfast.
The headlines, the story, the news.
Your friend,
In-depth analysis of national
Bye, everybody.
your friend from Alasa just